Before there was chaotic impulse, there was the Sterling Stylers. The Sterling Stylers were once just a pack of canine ruffians from the rundown abandoned city called Yorling, the city below New Yorling. Yorling was once like the Babylon city in the sky before the outbreak of a pandemic caused by miasma broke out and killed half its people. Those that survived the outbreak did not go unscathed. They were plagued with sickness that would stay with them all their lives, succumbing them to a slow and painful death. The outbreak left the city unhabitual and a major threat to the rest of society. The Elkai Dominion stepped in to clean the city as best as they could. They would clear out the heavily infected areas with their Ao Magica and disposed of the sickly bodies that littered the streets for several blocks. The survivors were not permitted to leave the city and were forced to live in their condition without the aid of treatment, for there was no known cure to miasma at the time. Although the city had mostly been abandoned and left to ruins, there were still proud beastkin that called it home, mostly because they had no choice, but they made it their own. Maul Sterling was one of the crew members of Sterling Stylers and the alpha of the pack. He, along with his best friends Dirge and Ace, would create a pillar of young hope that still clung to their dreams. Maul had it in him that he, along with his best friends, would get out of the city and reach to the city in the sky. That he and his friends would create something of themselves and take back what was theirs. Though Maul was young, he was ambitious, and ambition in his world was dangerous for those above. Every day, all day, Maul would stare up at the city in the sky, hoping, dreaming, planning. He yearned to be up there someday, up there with the upper folks, and live their life. A life without sickness and turmoil, to not have to scrape for food and shelter on the streets, to not have to fight for survival against the mad-ridden rabble, all infected with diseases, famine and rabies. It paid to have a group of those you can trust not to stab you in your sleep. Maul, Dirge and Ace were inseparable and of the same Akinine run. Their loyalty to each other would run strong well into their adult years, after they found a way to escape Yorling and into the promised land that was New Yorling. During one of the Elkai Dominion's patrol of the city, Maul and his crew managed to sneak on board on any of their airship transports and was taken directly into the Babylon city. There, Maul, Dirge and Ace were able to successfully leave their terrible lives behind and start anew. As they grew older, they would also pick up trades to financially support each other. Maul became a tailor, Ace became a barber, and Dirge, despite his lack of learning, found himself enjoying the occupation of a tavern strongman. That way he could rough up as many as he wanted and not get in trouble with Maul. They put everything into their chosen profession, creating a bit of a following in their name. No longer were they known as the Sterlings, but now known as Sterling Stylers, for their knack of bringing up quality and style. However, there was a dark side to their business. When they weren't cutting cloth or hair, they were cutting the throats of others. They were able to skillfully mask their murderous agenda under the guise of their work without a hint of suspicion. This was all the intention of Maul, of course, as he'd work towards his dream.